So hello again, my name's Rob, this is Cattle Rabbit Scale Model Studios, and today this is all about skin. Now I've got a top of a Mega Gargan of a alternate build that I did use when I painted mine, and the other day while on Instagram, my friend Casey, also known as Penchhammer, you might know him, we were chatting and we got talking about skin and how he was, you know, it's something that he didn't like doing. Now, I've painted my fair share of skin. I've got a very sizable Ogre Moor Tribes army. It's the only army I have in Age of Sigmar, aside from a few little forces, but it's been my main love and my main passion. So skin is something that I've had a lot of practice with. It is one of those methods where I think people worry about it before they've even done it. And I hope in this video, it's gonna take some of that fear away. Now, skin isn't a hard thing to do, but also it kind of is. You know, how do you get those tones right? Now, using the Citadel paint system, which is just a system I use, I've made, I guess, my own little skin scale, if you will. This is a selection of paints that all kind of go hand in hand with each other. And what I do is I pick and choose where I want my skin to end up. And I'm going to explain how this scale works now for you. This is something that I'm pretty proud of, actually, and I'm going to show some examples of how I put it into practice with some of my ogre models. But you can apply this method to, I mean, I use it for Space Marine heads and, you know, just other models in general, and I find it works every time. So to me, this is something that I really wanted to share, and I do hope it helps people. Now, the way that this kind of works is I have this kind of scale here, and I pick a selection of 3 depending on where I want to end up with my skin, and then all I do is I chop and change the washes, anything from Reikland Fleshshade, Druchii Violet, Carroburg Crimson. These all give really good effects to how it changes this method, and actually you can get a lot of variation just out of these paints and using this small little scale. So I am going to show you some examples. So like what I would normally do is, so here, as you can see, that I've actually used a selection which is Bugmans, Reikland Fleshshade, Cadian, and then a KIslev Flesh highlight. But then for this one, I actually started as Cadian for a base, used Reikland, KIslev Flesh, and then ended up with Flayed one for a highlight. And that's just how I work this scale. I'm going to show you how I apply it, what I'm doing, and yeah, we're just gonna put some paint down, and hopefully it's going to take the fear out of it. I think I'm going to go for these 3 paints, as it's something that I've done a lot of, and it does give a warmer skin tone. So I think that's what I think I'm going to do in this video. And then I think we'll use Reikland Fleshshade as a bit of a wash as well. So the paints I am going to use are Bugmans Glow, Reikland Fleshshade, Cadian Fleshtone, and KIslev Flesh. And the first thing I am going to do is prime my, I guess, example, guy's head. I don't know, I feel like we should call him Tony or something like that. He looks like a Tony. I've gone for Xandri Dust. Normally I would use Mechanica Standard Grey, but I don't have any at the moment. And all we're going to do first is we are going to give a good base coat of Bugmans Glow. This is to establish a good base, and it's going to kind of be quite important this kind of stage, and I'll explain a little bit later on why it is so important. But all I'm doing is I'm keeping my paint nice and thin. I do a couple of coats. I just make sure that everything has a really good solid colour, as everything is going to go on top of this, so we want it to be the best it can be. Obviously, if you have to do 2 or 3 coats because you've watered it down a little bit too much, that's fine. Keep them thin and you won't clog any detail on the miniature, and it will do half the job for you. Now we've got a really good base coat here. It's solid, and it's going to be great to put all our foundations on. The next step is a wash. I always do a wash after the base coat. So no matter where you are in the scale, you wash next, and it can be anything. I'm going to go with Reikland Fleshshade, as I said, because I'm going to go for a warm, I guess, a Caucasian skin tone here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I've got a good bit on my brush, and I'm just working it into the model, making sure that I've got everything covered, but it's not swimming or pooling or anything like that, just that it's washed, you know. I guess you could say too, if it's a very average standard, to me I consider this the standard. You know, it's not swimming, it's not puddled up anywhere. Just take your time with this, move it around if you need to. This is what we're left with. Now I will say at this stage you've done a really good base coat and the wash has done a lot of work for us. If you wanted to, you could stop here. If you wanted to go a little bit further, what I actually do here is a step that I think a lot of people leave out, and I think it's really important, is I'm going to reapply Bugmans Glow to all the raised areas on this model. You know, things like the brow here and the top of the head. And what this is going to do, this is going to soften that kind of transition back to a lighter colour. So if you can imagine, we've got Bugmans, we've got that lovely kind of wash doing all the work for us. And then we're actually just going to reapply that base colour, and it's just going to help bridge that gap. Now, a lot of people leave this kind of stage out and they go to their first highlight colour. And I think one of the reasons why my skin is, I'm consistently happy with it, should I say, is because of this step. It just softens everything and it just seems to make the other colours work a lot better for me, because they are lighter colours, so they are naturally going to be a bit more transparent. Especially the Citadel range, it does a lot of the work for you, especially if you're watering it down nicely or you're using a wet palette. So now we're here. Once again, if you were happy with this, then do you know what? Stop now. That's 2 paints with you so far, and we've already got a pretty good looking skin there. Okay, kudos to the model, it's got a lot of lovely bits of detail, but you could stop here. If you just wanted skin done, this is how I would say, do you know what, try this. However, we're going to push it a little bit further and we are going to use Cadian Fleshtone. All we're going to do here is all the raised sections working in the middle, leaving some of the Bugmans Glow showing, and we're just going to start adding a bit of solid colour to it, a bit of highlights. We're working on all the ridges from above, things like that, and we're just blocking in those colours nicely. Another trick you can do is, if you are using a palette, then don't be afraid just to get a little bit of Bugmans Glow and just pop it in with your Cadian Fleshtone, and it will just help bring it down just a level to kind of tie in with the, you know, the Bugmans Glow that we've already put in. That's a good little trick there that sometimes I do. But as you can see, I'm just steadily working my way around raised areas. I'm leaving the gaps, and I think with skin as well, it's one of those things where, much like certain colour choices and things, just demands a little bit of patience. And I think if you can just, when it comes to skin, just slow down a little bit, you are going to get a much better effect than probably you're used to if you are just kind of like painting to get it done. As you can see, this is where we are. Now, once again, I think that looks pretty good. The colours have done a lot of the work for us. If you wanted to, once again, stop here. But, you know, you can. The great thing about these colours, you can really water them down, almost have like a glaze, so you can actually blend those skin colours together. And this is why I really like the Citadel paint system for skin. And it's something that I rely very heavily on when I do skin. To me, that's, you know, that's a good standard we've got there. However, now we're just going to come in with our last highlight, and this is what's really going to finish it off. Faces and bases are the two things people always look at first. So what we're going to do with KIslev is working towards the middle of the face, as that's what's going to draw someone's eye. So things like here, where he's got the ridges on the cheek, his nose, you know, these raised bits of cheekbone here, just round his eyes, you know, just trying to draw the focus towards the middle of the face. That's what's really important here, because that's what someone is going to look at first. Also, another good way, like across the bridge of the nose, small little dots. You don't have to do lines, you don't have to block in colours, you know, stipple. I mean, if you wanted to, you could probably very gently dry brush this on. You know, it's not exclusive to just layering, but do just take your time with it. Also, things like this vein here, or crease or fold, whatever it is, you know, we can put a little bit of KIslev on that just to make it stand out, so we know it's raised. And you can really sell the effect of kind of skins and folds and things. And once again, it just, this kind of paint scale just seems to work really, really well together. So that's what we're left with. As you can see, straight away, attention's drawn to the eyes, the nose, the actual top of the face, because that's where we've put our highlights. So that's where we're drawing the eye. So, you know, working on a much smaller scale, like a Space Marine, I would do the eyebrows, the bridge of the nose, things like that, because that's what's going to draw the eye in. And if you're not confident with skin, this is a really good trick to have, because we've used, I mean, 3 colours on a wash, and we've kind of ended up here. And to me, I think this is probably the easiest skin we'll ever get. Once again, you could start with your base colour, a wash, reapply your base colour and call it good. And that's all there is to it. You know, I wish there was more, but it's just a case of taking your time and, you know, making sure that you're adding your highlights to where, you know, you want that. It's a highlight. You're highlighting that area. You're drawing the eye. You're drawing attention to it. So there we go. Look, if you like this and you do want to see me kind of finish this guy off, I can show you how to do the bags under his eyes, his gums, his teeth and things like that. Do let me know in the comments below. I love making videos like this because I hope they kind of blow open a technique that people maybe wouldn't have tried beforehand. But look, that's it for me. God bless, take care, and I will see you all next time.